Ladies and gentlemen, this is the XFL.
The following show is a Pod Avenue production. You are cordially invited to have dinner with the King. Pull up a chair and join WWE Hall of Famer Jerry the King Lawler and Glenn Moore. Enjoy.
Welcome to Dinner with the King. I am Glenn Moore, joined here at King Jerry Lawler's Memphis Barbecue Company in Cordova, Tennessee, chowing down on some brisket and some sausage. I'm sitting across the table from WWE Hall of Famer, a legend in the wrestling business, Jerry the King Lawler. Jerry, how are you?
I'm doing great. Why did you pick out? It's a smaller table. We could have sat over there with a bigger table with as much food that you're putting in front of you here today. Now we're. It seems like we're really too close. Well, does it seem close here to you?
Well, the outlet's over here, so I have to pick the table with the outlet. So that's why I have to do it. Hey, we have some special announcements before we get into this week's show. First off, this is our last quote unquote live show of the year.
Scared me. You're going to say this is our last podcast.
No, next week we're going to run a best of show because of the holiday season, because of Christmas and New Year's Eve coming up, New Year Day. We're going to do not a live show, but we're going to be doing a best of show. I'll be throwing some clips, some funny clips from the previous shows we've done this year.
Maybe the ones you think are funny, right?
Well, the ones that people think are funny, okay? People.
How do you know? How do you know which ones people think are funny?
Gauging off.
Sometimes, Glenn, I think that you only get a. Let me see. What would be the proper way to put it? You don't get the full effect of what people think about the podcast or what they say. I get people say things to me about the podcast that. Yes. Oh no, is right. My son, for one of them, Kevin. He said just the other day we're having lunch. An ill-fated lunch, as a matter of fact, when I was telling you about beforehand, where my crown of my tooth came off and I swallowed it during this meal that I was having with my son Kevin. Anyway, but he said, does anybody ever talk to you and complain about your co-host?
Oh.
I said, who are you, Glenn? What do you mean? He said, yeah. He said, he's such a dork.
Well, that's my role on the show. That's my character, the dork.
Oh, the dorky character. Why do you figure that's your role? Why do you need to? So, folks, what you're hearing is Glenn's character. It's not. He's not really like that. That's what I tried to tell you.
If I was a dork in real life, we probably wouldn't be friends, and you probably wouldn't want to do a podcast with me, Jerry.
Whoa, I didn't know you were playing a dork.
We're doing. Come on. No, I have to be the guy that you throw your jokes at, and I have to be the one that laughs, and I have to be the one that steers this ship.
I don't want you to be laughing if you're not genuinely amused.
No, I am amused. There's some. Well, I call you out for your jokes that you repeat every week.
You're like, so in other words, you're like the straight guy.
I'm the straight shooter.
Oh,
I'm Black Bart.
He's the shooter.
No, definitely not a shooter. Definitely not a
shooter.
No,
go ahead. So anyway.
So if you,
I'm sorry.
Well, the thing is, people who complain about the show are the ones that listen every week. So I mean, thank you for the download. No, we have 3 announcements. All right. Ooh. So the first one is the best of show for next week. Put some clips together. Our little snippets of our time with Jim Cornette, with Terry Funk, Cody Rhodes, some clips of the shows that we've done for the past 38 episodes. So we'll have that together for next week, and then the following week, the week after New Year's, it could be from the second, and it could be either the second, third, or fourth. One of these days, we're going to open up the barbecue restaurant. We're going to give a heads up on when we're recording, and you can come as a listener of the show. Sit right next to us. Well, not next to us, but sit in the vicinity of us and listen.
In the vicinity.
And listen to
you can be in the restaurant here.
You could be in the restaurant. And listen to and watch a live taping of Dinner with the King in Cordova, Tennessee, right here at King Jerry Lawler's Memphis Barbecue Company. So We're going to tweet
It's
out.
like Memphis. See, I don't think anybody really ever says we're in Cordova. We're in Memphis.
Well, I'm just.
Cordova is a suburb of Memphis, basically.
So what we'll do is, I'm sure Jerry will tweet it from his Twitter account. I'm sure everybody follows Jerry at Jerry Lawler, but also from the Dinner with King Twitter account at Dinner with King. We'll let you know the time and the exact day that you'll be able to come and join us for some barbecue and listen in on a live show of Dinner with the King. So
you think that's going to be fun? What if a big food fight breaks out?
That would be awesome.
No, it would not. Not here in the restaurant. I get in big trouble.
So yeah, so I'm sure it's gonna be bouncing. I'm sure a lot of people are gonna turn out. So we'll give you a day or two in advance. It would be after New Year's, so your obligations to your family are done. So you're able to come out if you are in the Arkansas, if you're obviously in Tennessee, if you're in Mississippi, you can make the drive to Jerry Lawler's barbecue restaurant and listen in on Dinner with the King. I'm sure, Jerry, you'll take some photos, sign some autographs too, right?
Oh, yes. Of course I will. That'd be fun,
Yeah,
it'll be cool.
It'll be great. So, and our third announcement.
And we might even, and we can use, the people that are there, we can talk to them on the podcast, right?
Yeah, there would be a third mic for the audience. If you have questions, I'm sure we'll just open up the questions and we'll talk something, relevant wrestling topics for that show. But we'll open up to questions and have some guests. Maybe bring some guests. Maybe have some people come down with us, Jerry.
It sounds good to me.
So maybe you'll never know who might come.
I think I want to get my son Kevin to come on it and get to actually meet you and find out that you're not as dorky as you sound to him.
Well, I look forward to that. And you never know. Maybe Brian Christopher, maybe your other son could possibly join. You never know who could who could come on the podcast that week. So, like I said, follow us on Twitter at Dinner with King. We'll tweet out the time and the date, and I'm sure Jerry will too, and I will on my Twitter account at Glenn Moore CLE. So that's our big second announcement. And then also for the month of January, we're going old school, Jerry. We're going to talk a lot of old school wrestling, Memphis wrestling topics for the month of January for those shows. So a lot of people like when the show goes more towards the old school aspect. So we're devoting the month of January to all of that, and yes, we are going to talk about the USWA. we teased that show for months. We'll be doing that in January. So those are our three big announcements, Jerry.
Okay.
So
I like them.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to opening the restaurant and letting people know when they can sit and listen and watch.
And for that time when you come down, it looks like you're going to be with all of this. You're going to be staying in town for about 10 days, right?
Yeah, I'm going to be down there for New Year's, and then I'm going to be going to the Memphis Grizzlies game for the King Jerry Lawler. Well, the Crown Night, right?
That's Friday, January the 5th.
And
then also Thursday, the night before that, I'm going to make you come to the Hustle game with me too.
Oh, definitely. Well, you're
not
at
the Lander Center.
Yeah, I'll come to the Hustle game with you. Definitely. If you want to tag
That's
me
at the
along.
Lander Center, as I said. That's at the Lander Center down in South Haven, Mississippi.
Hey,
and that is like not Memphis, but it's almost like Memphis. It's just right across the state line there, and great facility. Lander Center. What?
Can we take the Batmobile?
It's probably going to be cold.
Who cares?
Haven't you guys? You guys have had it cold up. When you're back up there in Cleveland, you guys have had snow and everything already, haven't you?
Yeah, but it was like 50 degrees yesterday before I came down, and it all melted away. But if it's
look at this day here in Memphis today, it's like 60.
Well, I want to stay. I can't stay for the holidays, but I wish.
We're supposed to. We're there's actually a small possibility it's supposed to turn really cold on Christmas Eve, and possibility of some what they call it wintry mix or winter precipitation for Christmas morning, which would be cool. I don't know if I've ever remember a white Christmas here in Memphis. We usually get like one snow a year, but it's always like after Christmas or whatever. But anyway, that would be really neat. But you won't be here for that. You'll be back up in Cleveland by then.
Yeah, I'll be back up. But we come back down for that week. Yeah, so like at the Hustle game, you got the Memphis Grizzlies, the Crown Night. I'm getting my crown, and then
What about New Year's? We got a big New Year's celebration planned for down at the club on Beale Street. Will you be here for New Year's?
I'll be there for New Year's too.
Whoa!
I'll be up there. But no, not here at the restaurant, but at the bar and grill.
No, on Beale Street, man. Yeah. On Beale Street, Beale Street is going to be a massive celebration. Well, it is every year. I mean, we have the, like up in Times Square. It looks like Times Square in New York, Beale Street. Sometimes like 50,000 people down on Beale Street, and it's just a massive celebration. We watch the guitar drop. We have a big Gibson guitar that drops down as instead of the ball, just the old-fashioned ball up in New York. We have a big guitar that drops down right there at the top of Beale Street, right near the club. So, that'll be fun if you're going to be here for that. You don't get like drunk and everything on New Year's, do you?
I mean, I'll drink, but I'm not going to get wasted.
Okay, good. Well, I don't want to have to deal with a fucking dork on New Year's Eve.
I am not a dork, and I'm definitely not a drunk dork.
Okay, good deal.
I can hold my.
Well, then we'll have fun on Beale Street on New Year's Eve.
There you go. Woo! So then I'll be there for the whole week, recording the show, and then like I said, the Hustle game. You got the Grizzlies game, and then Raw is going to be in town that Monday following. After that week, so a busy time.
Yeah,
so
it is going to be busy.
Looking forward to staying right here.
of course, Raw in Memphis is always fun and everything. But I don't know. I never know if I'm going to be. I'm like booked for that Raw yet or anything. I never know if they're going to ask me to do anything. But I do know that 2 weeks later, on the 22nd of January, that is going to be a big deal. That is the 25th anniversary of Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, I know we talked about it.
Imagine that show's been on the air 25 years. Wow.
It's longer than any other episodic TV show.
Yep.
Longer than Seinfeld.
And I think you said you looked up somewhere. I think I've been on more episodes of Raw than anybody, right?
I think so, and I think you're almost to 1,000. So I'm not sure how many you are actually. The exact number, but I'm trying to look it up really quick on my fancy dancy laptop here. But I really think it's pushing to 1,000. I think you need a few more. So barring.
Well, anyway, on the 25th of January, or on the 22nd of January, it's the 25th anniversary of Monday Night Raw, and they're going to. I understand there's going to be broadcasts from. And this may be a first too. Broadcasts from 2 different locations. They're going to be broadcasting from the Barclays Center in New Jersey. Is that no? That's not in New Jersey. It's in New York, but it's in like one of the burgs or something.
Yeah, it's in Brooklyn.
Yeah, it's in Brooklyn. There you go. Mm-hmm. So the Barclays Center. They're going to be doing part of the broadcast, and the other part of the broadcast is going to emanate from the Manhattan Center.
Yeah,
which is where it all started. I have many, many fond memories of the Manhattan Center and those early Monday Night Raws, doing the commentary with Vince McMahon, and it was really something. And all my King's Courts there. So I think they're going to put JR and I back together again for the 25th anniversary of Monday Night Raw, and let us broadcast some matches and call some matches from the Manhattan Center. So that's going to be a big, huge night.
So they're going to have matches at both places?
Matches at both places, yeah.
So what are they going to do? They're going to split the Raw roster to both?
Yeah, well, that night, of course. I mean, it's the 25th anniversary. They got plenty of talent, but they're gonna also bring back a lot of the stars from the past 25 years. So, and I would imagine that a lot of those people are going to be at the at the Manhattan Center. So I'm sure they'll bring back some guys and have some old school matches from back in the day.
We'll get you back in the ring.
I'd rather just. I mean, I'd be glad to, but I think I'm probably.
Well,
back up with JR.
Well, we talked about it on I think last week's show about you wearing the old school jacket and the old school crown. You gonna do that?
Well, as you can see, I brought the old school. Look, sitting over there, I brought my old school XFL jacket that I still have. That we're going to talk about here in a little bit. But yeah, I still have that. I had this jacket down at my club on display, and I got the 4 or 5 jackets down at the club that I wore over the years on Monday Night Raw. So yeah, I just grabbed one of them and head to New York on the 22nd.
Yeah, that'll be great. That's going to be
January. Hey, January's a big month, man. And then of course the 28th is the Royal Rumble. That's the Go Home Raw is on the 22nd, which is the 25th anniversary. Then on the 28th is the big Royal Rumble from Philadelphia. And first time ever, there's going to be a women's Royal Rumble this year. Isn't that amazing?
Are you going to be calling any the Rumble, or are you going to be doing the pre-show, post-show?
Well, I called the Rumble last year.
Yeah, but you don't know what you're doing yet?
No. That's what we all love about the WWE. I mean, man, they stay current. They are up to the minute because you don't know what you're going to do until the last minute, which is the way live TV should be.
Oh, definitely, yeah. So looking forward to a lot of stuff going on in January for the podcast, but also for you, King, with WWE. So hopefully a big month.
Yep, and I'm going to be wrestling in Little Rock, Arkansas in January. I'm going to be wrestling down in South Haven, Mississippi in January. I actually think with wrestling, there's wrestling at the Grizzly game and at the Hustle game.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's not just like an appearance. It's actual wrestling. Wrestling night means wrestling at those shows. Wow. So my buddy Dave Brown is going to be with us at both those shows. Referee Jerry Calhoun is going to be at both the Hustle and the Grizzlies games.
I'm looking forward to getting my crown though too at the Grizzlies game. My Jerry Lawler crown.
Really wear it?
You're asking like I'm like if it's bad if I wear it. Of course I'm going to wear it. Not the whole.
Then you'll officially be a dork if you do that.
Oh, there's going to be 10,000 people wearing that crown.
Oh, I know.
Are they all dorks?
And you know what? Hey, let me tell you something. The Grizzlies, they don't. I haven't seen the crowns yet, but the Grizzlies, they don't scrimp on this or skimp on these special promotions. A couple years ago on Wrestling Night, they gave away. Well, last year they gave away these great wrestling masks with the Grizzlies logo on them. It was like a Lucha Libre type mask, a really cool mask. Then the year before, they gave away championship belts, Grizzly championship belts, and they were really nice metal and leather belts, championship belts. So I can't wait to see what kind of crown they've put together for this. These things might be really, really nice.
Now
I may throw the plastic one I wear away and keep these.
Now, I know a lot of promotions. A lot of the companies that sponsor these. It's a really nice, like you said, it's a really nice item, but they have like the company's logo all over it. Is there a company sponsoring this crown, or is this going to be your crown with no logo?
No, ordinarily the only logo that I've ever seen on any of their promotion things are the Grizzlies.
Oh,
logo.
Nice. Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to getting my crown, taking it back up to Cleveland.
I can't wait to see you wearing a crown around Cleveland.
Well, I'm not going to wear it up in Cleveland, but I'll wear it at the game, like a dork I am. I'll even bring my cape. You should go to a Browns game wearing the. You couldn't pay me to go to a Browns game.
Oh man,
couldn't do that. 0-16 coming up. That's a whole other topic.
The next Browns game is on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, in Chicago.
That's kind of been lucky for the Browns. Didn't the Browns actually win a game on Christmas Eve last year?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, against the Chargers. Their only win last year. They're facing the Bears. The Bears aren't really good, so I mean, could break the streak. Oh, and
I sent out a tweet actually yesterday, I think, or maybe earlier this morning about I went to the mall. Lorne and I took Peyton to the mall to see Santa. And it's always, I don't know if it's kind of strange, but when you're standing in line to see Santa and all of a sudden Santa looks over and recognizes you and starts waving. I'm embarrassed like for Peyton, there's Santa all of a sudden. And so then Santa gets up and says he wants to have his picture made with me. So, you got all these people standing in line to have their picture with Santa. But then after I sent the tweet out of the picture of me and Santa, a bunch of people sent, and one guy said, could you please ask Santa for a win for the Browns on Christmas Eve? But I don't know. I don't know if it's in the cards.
Well, last year it worked. So, I mean, who knows if Santa will give us a Christmas miracle.
Did you watch any of the Browns game last week? Miserable.
No, it was awful. It's hard. It's hard to even imagine this team even winning a game this year.
Yeah.
But like I said, who knows? We'll see. And also WWE.
I watch every play.
WWE is going to be in Chicago on Christmas and the day after Christmas. A live show. Usually it's taped, but they're doing a live show on Christmas.
Oh, man.
So all those
tough.
people are going to be away from their families on Christmas and be stuck in Chicago for the day.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, though. At Allstate Arena in Chicago, it always, I don't care what, you can put one match in there, and it sells out. It's just unbelievable. The wrestling fans in Chicago are amazing, and that Allstate Arena there, it just, like I said, sells out every time. So they'll have some huge crowds, and it'll be good shows. But I just kind of feel bad, like you, for the people that would probably rather be home with their families, maybe on Christmas.
Yeah, they have Raw on Monday, and then at the same venue the next day for SmackDown. So I'm sure that was for the roadies, so they're not tearing up and setting down.
But they're still not at home.
Correct.
Unless some of them live in Chicago.
Right. All right, so that is what's going to be happening down there, and we'll be.
Do you see me keep looking at my phone?
You always do that, Jerry.
Well, I quit. That's what Lauren says. But in reality, Lauren's always looking at her phone. But no, I'm hoping for a call from my buddy. So close to Christmas, and then my buddy Scott Schwartz, who was Flick in the Christmas Story movie, the original, not this atrocity that they showed the other night. Did you watch any of that?
Yeah, I watched like a few minutes, and it was awful.
It was so awful. As a matter of fact, while looking at my phone, Scotty was tweeting me. Now, like I said, Scott Schwartz is a really good friend of mine, and I think we've told this many times that my all-time favorite movie of all, maybe, I don't know, Gone with the Wind is up there, but Christmas Story is not just my favorite Christmas movie. It's like my favorite movie of all time because it so mirrors my life growing up in Northeast Ohio, up there right near Cleveland. And of course, the Christmas Story house and part of the movie was shot in Cleveland, Ohio, and that was like me growing up watching that movie. So, but anyway, I became friends with Scott Schwartz, who was Flick, the kid that stuck his tongue to the frozen flagpole in the movie, and he and I have become close friends. And so, he was texting me. He was texting me while that movie was going on. And a little bit of fairness, it wasn't like they redid the movie. This was a Broadway play, right? Like with a musical at that.
Right.
So anyway, it was abysmal. And Scotty, during the show, he wrote, "I am praying you are not watching the Christmas Story live. You may need medical attention and therapy for years. OMG, it's a horror show."
Wow.
Yeah. And I wrote back, I just said, "It's awful." And he wrote back, "Painful." So yeah, it was just, oh man.
Yeah, as a a lover of the movie, that's because the house is up in Cleveland, Ohio, only a few miles away from where I live. It's just remakes and sequels for that classic movie just haven't panned out. There's a sequel to that movie, right?
Oh yeah, that Christmas Story 2 was just it might have been worse than this Broadway play thing.
Yeah.
But the play, I don't know why, and Scotty was upset too, and rightfully so. Why not give a tip of the hat at least to some of the original cast members from the movie? I mean, so many of them were available that you could have used in cameo appearances, but no, they didn't. They didn't have anybody, or just didn't even acknowledge any part of the original movie. Everything, so much stuff was changed, and it wasn't good. Yeah. And you know what? And the public seemed to agree because it was a ratings flop. It did a 1.5 rating, which is horrible.
Yeah, it did 4.5 million people watched it, but compared to a live Fox show of Grease, that went with 12.2 million people in their homes. So, yeah, that's 3 times the amount for Grease as A Christmas Story, and it's Christmas season, and that movie is a classic. It's shown for 24 hours on Christmas Day, so everybody knows about that movie. And for it to get 4.5 million people to watch it, is just a reflection of how.
Well, I promise you, I would be willing to bet my life that the 4.5 million people were how many that started watching it, and I guarantee it was millions less than that. Get that phone over there.
Could be a takeout order.
Yeah, as without a doubt, that number of viewers dwindled drastically as they got just a few minutes of viewing that thing.
Yeah. So, so it was bad. I was following along on Twitter, and everybody was bashing it. Everybody.
Yeah, and I just wanted to give Scotty a chance to vent here on the podcast so that he could just tell everybody what he thought. But you know what? At this time of the year, I bet you, because I've put a couple of calls for him. I'll bet you not only is it still early out on the West Coast, but I'll bet you he's probably in the air flying somewhere, because this time of the year he does all the month of December. He does appearances. He and Zach, the Scott Farkas and Grover Dill and a bunch of the original cast members go out and do holiday appearances around the movie around this time of year.
Yeah, so
we may not hear from Scotty today. Maybe we'll get him on next week and talk about it after the fact, or a week after next.
Yeah,
something like that.
Well, hopefully, like I said, people also echo our disdain for the live performance, because it was pretty bad. And us being huge fans of the classic movie, it was definitely hard to watch. All right, I think we got everything out of the way. Let's get our main topic for the show, Jerry. Are you ready?
Okay.
So a lot of news, and Jerry, I know you're not really privy to this information, but a lot of people on like Deadspin, well, David Bixenspan, the writer for Deadspin, wrote about it. Some other journalists, wrestling journalists, are talking about it. Now,
what is Deadspin? That's a
Deadspin's a very
entertainment website or what?
Yeah, I mean, they're kind of like a.
Is it just about wrestling, or is it about everything?
Everything. You never heard of Deadspin?
I think I've heard of it.
It's what.
It's a red guy that wears red, a superhero guy, right?
No, it's Deadpool.
I know. I'm kidding.
Jeez. No, Deadspin. Deadspin's. They are one of the top websites in the world. They write about news, their own spin. They're kind of like not filtered. They swear.
Are they sort of like TMZ, sort of?
Nah, they're not like doing juicy gossip stuff. I mean, they write legit good pieces about topics, but some of it, they report on certain things, and wrestling is obviously a topic that people love to talk about. So the guy wrote about Vince McMahon possibly bringing back the XFL or a football league, and supposedly, Jerry,
and that's why I brought back my jacket.
Yeah, supposedly Vince is going to have an announcement at the end of January about a football league. That's what these reporters are reporting. And then these aren't dirt sheet reporters; these are legit guys. So who knows? Dirt sheet. Yeah, these aren't dirt sheet guys throwing stuff against the wall hoping it sticks.
Where they got those the term dirt sheet came about. I mean, that was back in the day, and way back in the day when these things first originated. They were literally sheets of paper. I mean, some kid would go down in his basement and run off on a copy machine and actually mail these things out. And what they basically was, and the reason they were called dirt sheets is because they tried to dig up personal information on the wrestlers, stuff that stuff that you wouldn't find out about them by watching the wrestling shows. It was, and what they loved to find out was the old expression, dig up some dirt on somebody, because that's what people love to read, and that's how these websites and different things, what they have grown into, were always known back in the day as dirt sheets, because it was it was stuff that you wouldn't hear and weren't supposed to hear about by just by watching the wrestling programs. So now when you say dirt sheets, gosh, there used to be, back in the day there was one, and then it grew to two, and then three or four, and now how many websites out there do you think that we consider that we technically use the term dirt sheet for are there out there where they just try to expose stuff about wrestling?
Oh, there's thousands. I mean, anybody can start a website and just throw stuff at the wall and hopefully it happens. I mean, there's no credibility.
Right.
And there's no accountability when they're wrong. Like a
Right.
sports reporter, if they say LeBron James is going to sign with the Memphis Grizzlies, if a reporter said that and it didn't happen, that's a major story. I mean, that reporter's reputation and credibility is just gone. With wrestling journalists, they can say, well, Roman Reigns is going to main event against Vince McMahon. And if it doesn't happen, oh, well, they changed their minds. It's okay.
Yeah.
It was creative differences. Well, Jerry, I mean, there's a photo of you from 1984 reading the Wrestling Observer, which is Meltzer's publication.
Yeah, that was one of the original. And see, it's on paper, right?
Yeah, it's like a bunch of sheets of paper, basically stapled down the middle together. I mean, but so you've not always disdained Meltzer, right?
Well, I mean, there was a time that was only because everybody felt like their own personal life, and everybody feels this way, that your own personal life should be private, and that was the whole intent of those dirt sheets, and your business, your profession, which if you were a wrestler, that was you consider part of your private life. Everything that the people didn't see on television was considered part of your private life. And so, everybody resented at the time when Meltzer started delving into everybody's personal lives and putting it out there for the world to read about. And so, nobody, I think it's safe to say that nobody in the wrestling business really liked Dave Meltzer back in the day. Over the years, it's grown to be where, it's all, like you said, this becomes so prevalent that now it's no big deal. Everybody does it. As you said, there are thousands of people out there doing it now. So there's no need to just single out a Dave Meltzer and be mad at him anymore. But he sort of did kind of start it. Actually, Eddie Gilbert, who this week I have featured on my show on Channel 30, the Classic Memphis Wrestling Show, which, by the way, is going to be on Christmas Eve at 12 noon. Christmas Eve at 12 noon, the Classic Memphis Wrestling Show on WLMT Channel 30 here in Memphis. It features Eddie Gilbert and Dangerous Doug Gilbert, and we go back and show a lot of the matches from Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert. But Eddie was one of those guys that was kind of, he was in on the ground floor of writing some of those, personal inside information, which, his dad was a wrestler, and he was kind of privy to a lot of different wrestling information. But that's when those things first came out, most of the people in the business didn't like them.
But obviously it would help the promotion. I mean, more eyes for the wrestler, even though it's personal information. I mean, it's a publication that got thousands of readers. I mean,
well, you know what? That's an old saying, but just imagine that if the publicity is about you personally, the bad publicity rather, then no, you're not going to like it. And I don't know, it was everybody in the wrestling business looked at it as a major invasion of privacy, and so nobody liked it. That wasn't the kind of publicity. That wasn't even, it wasn't even really publicity. It was just like I said, it was an invasion of privacy. It was your personal life, things from your personal life getting put out there. That it wasn't like publicity. It wasn't even newsworthy. It was just stuff put out there. And then of course the lifting the veil or putting out a lot of secrets, the things that back in the day, the wrestling business was sort of secretive, and that's the way it had always been, and that's the way the promoters felt like it needed to be for the business to stay healthy and for people to continue to come to see the wrestling shows. And then all of a sudden, the secret's out with guys like Meltzer and those dirt sheets and everything, and it felt like that was then not only an invasion of privacy, but that felt like it was detrimental to their business, to the wrestling business itself.
Well, like I said, a lot of these websites, not dirt sheets, but a lot of reputable websites are reporting that Vince is filing for all these trademarks for football and a new company and Alpha Entertainment. But the XFL, there was a ESPN 30 for 30 about it, about the XFL a couple months ago, and a lot of attention got to it. And there was a lot of things that happened with the XFL that are still used today. The camera angles, the player introductions, just a lot of aspects that Vince kind of invented with the XFL are used in the NFL today. But my question for you is, I mean, you broadcasted a few games as a color guy with good old JR for football.
Yeah.
How was that experience?
Well, it was cool. I mean, it was certainly something different for me. JR had done football in the past, and JR had he was a big University of Oklahoma follower, and so he was and almost the same going in when we did wrestling. JR was the experienced guy on it, and I was just, which I guess is basically what was meant to be, just a color guy. I was just there to add some hopefully colorful comments and that sort of thing. And JR did the nuts and bolts of broadcasting the actual game. But it was cool. It was fun. I mean, I thought, and still to this day think that the XFL could have flown. It could have been successful had Vince McMahon been allowed to actually run it. But what it came down to was I'm not going to say a power struggle between Vince and who was the big football guy?
Dick Ebersol.
Yeah,
with NBC. You talking about that?
Yeah.
Dick.
And of course everybody knows that that's how it came about. NBC lost the NFL contract, and so they were looking for something to replace it with, and the boom. So then, hence the XFL was born, and it wasn't. I just think that you couldn't. What was, and what eventually happened was you couldn't just go in and try to clone the NFL and try to do exactly what they did, which is I think we talked about the Christmas Story thing. That you just, not only did some people resent the fact that it was you were trying to be like the NFL, but you just it needed to be something different. And the XFL, in Vince's mind, could have been different enough that it would have been successful. Who was the guy that was with that was the Saturday Night Live guy?
Lorne Michaels?
Lorne Michaels. Wasn't he involved with that some way too?
Well, he was critical of the XFL because a couple of the games would run over into Saturday Night Live. I know he was upset about that sometimes.
Right.
But so Lorne wasn't involved with the XFL. Lorne was kind of when the XFL games were running over time into Saturday Night Live's time. That's when the kind of struggle came between the two entities.
Right, you're right, exactly. But I don't know. It's just the NBC people wanted it to be just exactly like the NFL. And of course, Vince's vision of it was almost, a combination of the NFL and WWE, and the fact that Vince had envisioned more showmanship and more show business aspect incorporated into the football. I mean, man, the first weeks, there was no games that when they were building up to this thing. And they were making commercials saying, the XFL is coming. And in all of the commercials, the only thing they had to show to tell people what you sort of could expect, it was some like smoking hot cheerleaders. And that was the video, or that was what you would see as they're talking about the football games that were coming. And the first weeks, the ratings were unbelievable. I mean, people flocked to this, and all they had seen was what the cheerleaders were going to look like. And just one of the things that I can remember was like after the second week, I remember somebody coming and saying, "Don't shoot the cheerleaders." And and I told JR, I said, they're not going to shoot the cheerleaders. They're not going to show the cheerleaders on what we've been featured, I said, this thing is not going to last if they're not going to have them an integral part of this show, because this was back during the Attitude Era. This was back during the time when, it was like a show me your puppies thing going on at the actual WWE shows. And that was, that was a part of the viewing audience that they wanted to attract was, the young guys, 18 to 24, that sort of thing. And that's what, they were going to tune in for. And the football would grow on them later because, they didn't have the NFL caliber players at first. And then the other, then another bad thing. I mean, JR and I, we did a couple of games in Orlando, and then we did a game in Memphis. And I swear to you, it's like we were like the B team, the go-to team if something happened with the A broadcast. But every game that we did was highly entertaining, was good football and everything. And it just so happened that the main game, the game that was on the network TV, was just not good games. And, there was the talent level was not there yet. And so, and that kind of hurt, but if it had just been given more time, I really think that, I think the talent would have come around and it could have been built into something that could really still be going today.
Yeah, NBC and the XFL split, and Vince wanted to keep the XFL going without NBC. But, man, without that big TV contract like NBC, behind it, they ceased operations in 2001. Now we did a whole show about you leaving WWE in 2001. So when you left, you stopped doing XFL games, but you did a few of them. How was it for you? Obviously being a wrestling guy, and you are an educated fan of football. You love football. You love the Browns.
Yeah.
So you know about football. But how was it, doing color commentary for football as to being a wrestling guy for 40 plus years?
Oh, I mean, I enjoyed it. It was fun. JR absolutely loved it. Because he was doing the serious part of the football, and I was doing the fun part with the cheerleaders and that sort of thing. I was throwing in the same type of what I thought was entertaining comments with the football that I was using on Monday Night Raw. Now I don't know if all of that would really, I don't know if that was some of the things that the old NBC NFL people were used to hearing, but I remember our the XFL commissioner or whatever was Dick Butkus. You remember that?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So I think we had one time sometimes we would have actually in our on cameras we would have a cheerleader, one of the cheerleaders be in there, in the booth with us during the on cameras. And talk to the cheerleaders or something. And I just kept mentioning Dick Butkus or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, afterwards, JR said, King, why when you have the cheerleaders in here do you keep mentioning the commissioner? I said, I just like to say the word Dick Butkus around cheerleader. So some of that stuff was a little off color and a little risque and everything. But that was what the people expected from the XFL. I mean, it wasn't the National Football League; it was the Extreme Football League, and so we had a lot of fun with it. I remember one of the Memphis game. My the girl I was married to, the diva that I was married to at the time, Stacy Carter. She was. We had her in one of the on cameras there during the XFL game, and very scantily clad, and it was like freezing cold, and so it was fun doing those broadcasts to me.
Well, King, you're wrong about what the X stood for. It did not stand for extreme.
Oh, it didn't?
The XFL, Vince would comment saying the NFL stood for the No Fun League, and the XFL would stand for the Extra Fun League.
Oh.
So the extra and X and extra, and then obviously FL Fun League. So, but in the time to where nowadays, to where a lot of people are upset with players kneeling during the national anthem, you can't hit without being penalized. They toned down on penalizing celebrations, but it just seems like there is no fun in the NFL anymore. So, I mean, all these rumors of Vince, getting trademarks for the UFL, United Football League. There's a URFL out there that Vince's new company has bought for trademarks, and we're not making this up. This is all this is all news as has happened in the last two.
And remember, there were some different rules and that sort of thing in the XFL. I loved the fact that instead of a coin toss, you started the game with action. They put a ball at the 50-yard line, and then they had two of the opposing players take off and run to and try to recover it like it was a fumble, and then whoever recovered the ball, that's the team that started with first possession. And I think ironically, there was the very first time that was done, one of the players got injured on the opening. I don't even remember what that was called, run for the ball or something like that. But anyway, the very first one, boom, the two players collided trying to recover the fumble after running out to the 50-yard line, and there was an injury right there. So that might have been just a warning of things to come there. I don't know.
Yeah, that was as a high school kid, this was fun to watch because there was football even after the NFL was over, after the Super Bowl. It was great to watch more football. The talent was okay. I mean, we all know who Tommy Maddox is. Went on to be a quarterback for the Steelers. I think won a Super Bowl or something like that. He was not that bad, but he came from the XFL. But yeah,
what about he? The guy I remember was He Hate Me.
He Hate Me.
You remember that guy?
Yeah, I know
what happened to him.
I don't know what happened to him, but I do know that was probably the top jersey sold by the XFL. I think a kid in school had one, and I wanted one so bad because that was just unique, putting nicknames or different kind of slogans on the back. He was so that was Rod Smart. And
let me ask you this: didn't the NFL just do that recently? Or some sports league?
Baseball.
The players have, baseball, yeah. Let their nickname be going to put a nickname on the back of their jerseys.
Yeah, so he did join the NFL after. He signed with the Eagles in 2001, and then he spent 4 seasons with the Panthers, and then he spent time with the Raiders, and he did win an NFC championship game in 2003 with the Panthers.
Well, there you go.
And he has over.
So there was some talent. And like I said, it was just, all of a sudden you had all of these brand new teams, starting on the ground floor. You had to know it wasn't going to look exactly like the NFL, but that's what they expected. And that's what the NBC people wanted. And when it didn't look just like the NFL, they wanted to abandon ship, I think.
Well, I mean, King, I said you did a few games for broadcasting. That jacket, you still have that. I'm surprised you still have that jacket.
I got a jacket. I got a nice jacket for the deal.
Memphis had a team too, the Memphis Maniacs.
Oh my gosh, it was Memphis. It went over really because Memphis didn't have an NFL team, so it went over big in Memphis. We had a big following, big crowds.
Now, if Vince has the idea, and like I said, this is all just on what we read on the internet, so we're not reporting this as fact, people. So, if Vince did decide to start a second football league in America, do you think there is a viewership for it? Do you think that there's enough to where he could possibly get it for more than 1 year? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I really do, and especially, with you hear the talk from the. You hear the talk from the NFL about they're going to streaming video and they got their own network and which of course, the WWE is way out ahead of almost all the other major sports in that capacity. I mean, you may not have to have this huge network contract. It may be something that could be just on the WWE network that would then attract, you would have something to attract more viewers to the WWE network than just wrestling. Right now, it's like you look at Netflix and they have 45 million subscribers, and that's because they have a variety of all kinds of different movies or whatever, different programming that the people can see. Well, the WWE is right now, it's basically just wrestling. And so this would be an opportunity to expand the programming on the WWE network and then make the WWE network more attractive to a broader audience. Don't you think?
No, I agree. I just feel like attendance, maybe, for football, just with people watching at home now, you got to have a big TV deal. I think if you're going to be on USA, it's great to have the cable, but I think you need to have a network, NBC. NBC has football already, but some major network that people can watch this game on a regular basis, not just USA.
Who knows? I don't know. I just think that, man, I'm telling you, I think the way of the future is the WWE network, and that I think that's what's maybe 5 years, 10 years down the road. That I think that's what we're going to be talking about. I think that things like DirecTV and Comcast and Xfinity and all that stuff, I think they're going to be taking a back seat to things like the WWE network. I believe more people will be, because it's going to be fine. It's going to be cheaper. People are going to be cutting the cord, and then the WWE network. And I firmly believe the NFL will have their own network, just like WWE. I think Major League Baseball will have their own network. That's just because it's going to be financially more attractive to them to, like I said, cut out the middleman.
Would you want to get involved if Vince does a football? Would you want to do color commentary again?
Oh, sure. I'd be glad to do that. That'd be fun.
That'd be fun. Yeah, definitely. You probably couldn't talk about the cheerleaders like you used to.
Not like you used to, but maybe you can still talk about them.
A little bit.
Did you see the speaking of football and everything, and what you can and cannot say now, and just the way the world has changed? The Carolina Panthers. What's their owner's name? Jerry something.
I think Richardson.
Yeah. Richardson. Yeah. Okay. So now he's being accused and being investigated about some sort of sexual misconduct, right? Mm-hmm. So he's stepped away, and he's all of a sudden saying he's probably going to sell the team, but he stepped away from being the ownership position, and the person they put in his position, the most powerful person with the Carolina Panthers now, is a woman.
Oh wow! I didn't.
And she's and listen, she started in 1999 with the Carolina Panthers as the director of the cheerleaders.
Oh wow!
And now just this week she's running the entire organization.
That's awesome. Good for her.
Yeah.
Well, I also saw Diddy is going to put together an investment group to buy the Panthers. So Diddy wants to buy them.
Well, I did. You know what? I was shocked and amazed. I did see a thing online the other day that I took the time to go down. You see these lists that pop up on the internet all the time on Facebook or something, and then it takes you forever to go. You read number 20, and then you have to punch again and to go to another page for number 19, and by the time you get down to what you've been on there an hour looking at these, trying to get down to the top 20 list. But the entertainers that made the celebrities that made most money in 2017, and I was shocked and amazed at the names that were in the top 20 list.
Who's number one? Is The Rock?
Well, I'll tell you in a second. No, the Rock was not even in the top 20.
What? Wow.
The Rock was not even in the top 20. Wow. Like number 19 or number 20 was Wahlberg. What's his name?
Mark Wahlberg.
Mark Wahlberg was number 20. He made $55 million or something last year. But some of the names in there that I would have never dreamed of. Dr. Phil.
Oh, yeah. Those networks.
Dr. Phil was in the top 20. I mean, he made $60 million or something last year.
Jeez.
Ellen DeGeneres was in the top 20. Howard Stern was in the top 20 of moneymakers. But then the number one number one guy that made the most money. I mean, and then there were some bands in there that because of the tours that they did, Coldplay. How do you know who's Coldplay?
Well, they're a good band. I like Coldplay.
Yeah, but would you think that they made the top 20 money makers of the entire?
No, not a band. No.
Well, they did. Coldplay made it. But anyway,
Taylor Swift.
Is
she in there?
Taylor Swift was not in there.
Oh wow. Okay.
But you know who was number one, made the most money of anybody in 2017?
Shoot.
Oh, you're trying to cheat to get off the computer.
No, I'm not. I'm not looking. I'm staring at the wall. I'm gonna say, geez, well, the whole slew of people, with all these bands and everything. I'm gonna say, Lady Gaga.
Bruce Springsteen was in there too. Was in the top 20.
Lady Gaga.
No.
Who?
The guy that wants to buy the Carolina Panthers.
P. Diddy?
P. Diddy, number one, made the most money of anybody.
How much was it?
Oh my gosh, $150 million or something last year.
Jeez. Well,
but the Carolina Panthers would sell for like $2 billion.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's got $2 billion just to throw out there to.
Imagine if somebody wanted to buy the Browns, even though they're 0-14.
And you know that P. Diddy also, Puff Daddy or whatever his current name is, P. Diddy, whatever. He said the first thing he would do is sign Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah. Well, why?
And he also said, I watched the interview. He said, plus Carolina Panthers, we would play the best music of any team in the NFL.
As long as it's not his.
Oh.
No, P. Diddy has performed at WrestleMania. He's a good guy. Yeah. Well, speaking of, our last topic before we wrap the show up for this week, or the last segment of 2017 King, is now, before we talk about this, we are not saying these are the lists. This is just the rumors going around of who could be in the WWE Hall of Fame for 2018. And we talked about this before, who should be in and, who should be recognized.
And we talked about this before we started the podcast, and you told me that you have the official list, actually, that is out on there. Here we go once again with the dirt sheets, that it's out on all of these wrestling websites that somebody has like put out the real list that is going to be. And see, that to me that's hurtful in the fact that that's one of the things that Raw and SmackDown, that's a big part of the draw of Raw and SmackDown is tuning in around this time of year to find out who are going to be the Hall of Fame nominees. And, every week they release another name, and that's like it's supposed to be a big surprise. And now it's got to be somebody in the company. There's got to be what you call a mole or just I don't know who, somebody that is privy to this information to put that out there. And I just can't understand why they've done this over the years, put out stuff it really is detrimental to the company to put that information out there.
Well, Brad Shepard is the guy that tweeted out the list, and he's also the guy that says that Vince McMahon is going to have an announcement concerning a football league later next month.
Who's Brad Shepard? Let's check his credentials out.
Brad Shepard he's a freelance journalist. He broke the XFL return story. This is coming from his bio. I swear, it's the Brad Shepard on Twitter. Freelance journalist. Oh, and I broke the XFL return story. He's a pro wrestling is my jam. That's what he says. He's a Boston.
Pro wrestling is my what?
Pro wrestling is my jam.
Jam. J-A-M?
It's like his J-A-M. Yeah. So it's like I don't know. And then he's a Boston sports fan. And then he has his email. So he has 4,000 followers on Twitter.
Oh my gosh! So he's like a nobody.
I mean, come on. People have to start somewhere, King. I've been there before.
Well, it just makes me so mad. But he has nothing to do with the WWE other than watching it is his jam.
I mean, maybe he has.
So all of a sudden, he has the information on who are the set in stone names that are going to be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame this year from this guy. Wrestling is his jam.
According to him. And I'm not going to rip on the guy because I've been there. I've been a blogger. I've been there. But
I'm ashamed of you in the fact that you now you're not going to rip on the guy. Well, but what makes you think he's like this? His word is like the Bible. That's
what I'm saying. It's a rumor. These are all rumors. This could not be true. These are just names.
So now my podcast has come down to we're talking about rumors.
Well, these are guys that there's one name that you've wrestled before, way before in WWE. I mean, there's some notable names that I would even bring up even if these guys weren't on the list as possible names for a Hall of Fame.
Now here today we're gonna try to well, let's just say
I just want your reaction.
If you read this list, these are not. We don't know for sure that these are the people that are going to be inducted into the WWE.
That's what I said.
You're going to have
these
to
are
watch
rumors.
Raw and SmackDown to find out.
Exactly. These are rumors. I'm not saying this is the official list, King. I'm saying this is based off of.
I thought you were saying that this was the official list.
No, this is
that
just
this
rumors.
guy knew. This Jam guy really knew what he was talking about.
He says he knows, but I'm going to preface it as rumors and innuendo.
Preface
to use a Bruce Pritchard.
Preface.
Preface this. So,
okay,
all right. So here, preface.
Go ahead.
All right. So the first.
Don't edit all this out now. I know you go back and you edit out anything where you don't look right or something, but
no, I keep it in sometimes.
Okay.
I'll keep that in. All right. The first name is for the woman is Ivory.
Ivory.
She is, obviously a women's champion. She was on Glow, the Netflix about the women's wrestling show that came out earlier this year.
Is that coming back? I was in Target store the other night doing Christmas shopping, and there's a Glow T-shirt with just like two good-looking girls on there. Not anybody that you know is actually artwork, but the big Glow logo was on there, but the tag said Netflix.
Yeah, Netflix did. Yeah, the show was earlier this year. We talked about the show. The show was popular on Netflix, so I'm sure they have merch for it.
Is that David McLean? I saw David McLean, and he just came over and he's always smiling. David McLean is got this. He's going to have a smile surgically removed someday. It's like perpetually smiling. But he's a nice guy. Is he the one that's doing the Glow stuff now?
It was just a show. It wasn't like a real promotion. It was just a show.
Oh, well, he was at this thing. He was at that WrestleCade, and he had a bunch of girls. He had a bunch of female wrestlers there.
Yeah, they were a part of the show. Like Awesome Kong, remember her? She was a part of the show.
But I mean, he was like plugging the show now.
Oh, well, I think there's going to be a season 2.
Oh, okay. There we go.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I got off track.
Yeah.
Where were we talking about?
The other name for this rumored list.
Ivory though.
Ivory.
We talked about Ivory.
Yeah.
Ivory was really a lot of fun to work with. Ivory, that was back when we were doing some really risque stuff. That was when I was married to the Cat, and they were doing the right to bear arms and right to what was it? What was the right?
Come on, King.
Right to censor.
Right to censor with that awful entrance music.
And I was doing right to bear arms, legs, and all the rest of your body, something like that.
Yeah. But she was great. She was great as Ivory, but also as a member of Right to Censor. That group was fun.
Yeah, we did. I got to wrestle some matches in there, and for to try to save Cat from being in. And that was right in the middle of all of that is when we had the deal and she left and I left, and that was right. Ivory was right involved in all of that. But yeah, Ivory would be a good choice. She did a lot of stuff in the WWE. Okay.
So there's always a celebrity in the WWE Hall of Fame. And rumored this year it's going to be Kid Rock.
Kid Rock.
I love Kid Rock. Oh, I love him too.
I do too. I mean, really, and the times that I've got to be around him, Lorne and I were just last year, as a matter of fact, he came to Memphis and did our Memphis Music Fest down by Beale Street. And so we got to be backstage and hang out in his dressing room with him. And his parents were there. And it was just like, we talked about it afterwards, and I don't want to ever say anything to spoil anybody's image, but he just really wasn't what you thought he would be like. I mean, he was just a really down to earth, nice guy. With his parents there in the dressing room and all this sort of stuff. But I remember back the first time Kid Rock came around, and remember the little person that he had. What was his name?
Pimp C.
Yeah, exactly. That wasn't his real name, but I mean, gosh, I mean, he was a great guy to be around. We got to hang out with him, and I've never forget. We went to eat one time, and it was so funny that it's Brock and the what was he called? Pimp C?
No, it's not Pimp C. I'm just looking up.
No.
I'm trying to look it up really quickly here. It's not Pimp C. Pimp C was a rapper though. It's a different rapper.
No, that was not his name at all.
No, I know what you're talking about. Well, I'm looking up the song. One of the songs that Kid Rock sang with this person was called "The Early Morning Stone Pimp." So I'm trying to find the song because I know the song is going to give credit to the person singing it. There we go.
Well, anyway, while you're looking that up, we went into a restaurant one time and we sat down, and all of a sudden and this little guy was a classic, oops, excuse me, you got to cut that out. But anyway, this little guy was just a classic. He's probably 24, 25 years old or something at the time. But just he had a little bald head, and he was cute. He just looked like a little kid.
Oh, his name was Joe C.
Joe C. There you go, man, Joe C. And of course he's passed away now, but he was an awesome little guy. But we went to a restaurant, and we all sat down, and all of a sudden the waitress brought over a little coloring page and some coloring crayons for Joe C. She thought he was a little kid, and man, he went off. It was classic. He started this little bit of profanity and that sort of stuff with this waitress, and she was shocked because she genuinely thought it was a little kid, But yeah, Kid Rock. I mean, he is awesome. I mean, jeez, that would be a great. That would be nobody would complain about the fact that Kid Rock would be inducted into our celebrity wing of the Hall of Fame.
Joe C. He passed away in his sleep in the year 2000. And no official cause of his death was announced. Wow.
Yeah, he had a lot of health problems. I remember when he even had when we went to the restaurant, he couldn't eat at that time. He had like a feeding tube in his side, that he couldn't even. He was just hanging out,
Yeah, Kid Rock would be great. He did the Undertaker's theme song, American Badass. Yeah. So yeah, Kid Rock would be great. Here's the other one would be Bam Bam Bigelow.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, he definitely should have been in before now.
Definitely. WWE seems to limit wrestlers who have passed away. They kind of only keep one of those per year. So Bam Bam would be the one post death being inducted.
Wonder who will accept if that does indeed happen. Wonder who will accept.
That's a good question. Yeah.
I remember when I first met him, Larry Sharp trained Bam Bam Bigelow at this monster factory up in New York, and he just sent him down to us on real short notice, and man, the guy was just phenomenal. Really, he basically started working with me in Memphis. That was probably the first actual live shows, other than just a little bit that he did while he was doing the training at the monster factory up in New York. But that was probably the first really, live events that he did on a regular basis. And from the get-go, he was great. Just such an imposing looking guy, and for as big as he was, so agile and athletic, and then the tattooed flames on the top of his bald head. He was a natural, man. And I mean, he did great for us down in Memphis. We made a lot of money with him. Then I think he had a little bit of a falling out with Larry Sharp, and then he went on to the WWE and did really well there. My fondest memory of him at the WWE was when he was working the match with Bret the Hitman Hart when I came out and started insulting Brett's parents, and that was at the Manhattan Center when Raw was, in the very early, probably the first year of Monday Night Raw. But yeah, it was Bam Bam Bigelow going against Bret Hart, and I came out and started insulting Stu and Helen, and Bret left the match and came up to looking for me up in the balcony, and so, yeah. But if Bam Bam gets in, that would be awesome.
The next Hall of Famers rumored. Get a rumor. Oh, I followed the Brad Shepard on Twitter. He just followed me back. That was quick.
Really?
Yeah, so we're buddies now. The Dudley Boyz. Jerry.
Oh.
Get the table.
Yes. The Dudley Boyz. That would be that's another good induction.
Yeah. Both, Dudley Boyz, ECW, great. Obviously, WWE, those TLC matches with Edge and Christian and the Hardy Boys were classic matches. And I know Bubba, he still wrestles.
And I think those guys probably, they may have won more titles, tag team titles, than anybody during their career. So I mean, they definitely. I'm almost shocked. Are you sure they're not already in there?
I don't know. They're not in there. They should be. They came
they
back.
Should be, yeah.
They should be. Yeah, one of those that should have been in there a lot sooner. And the headliner, the rumored headliner for WrestleMania weekend down in New Orleans for the WWE Hall of Fame class of 2018 is Goldberg.
Ah, Goldberg.
Who recently came back. He won the WWE Championship, lost to Brock at WrestleMania, but he had a little run in the WWE, and looking to put him in the Hall of Fame. He wasn't the best wrestler, and he'll admit that, completely. But geez, he drew a lot of money.
Oh my God, definitely Hall of Fame worthy. I mean, and the cool thing about the WWE Hall of Fame now is that, I mean, there's so many guys still that are worthy to be in, but it's now encompassing, just a wrestler's entire career, not just what they did in the WWE, because hey, Goldberg wasn't in the WWE for a long extended period of time, but he was in WCW, and he had a definitely Hall of Fame worthy career, and I like the fact that the WWE is looking at a guy's entire career. That makes me hopefully think that one day Andy Kaufman will get in that celebrity wing of the WWE Hall of Fame, because he never did anything in the WWE, but what he did in wrestling was certainly noteworthy. But yeah, if Goldberg is in there, that you're right, that'd be a big name headliner for the induction ceremony.
Definitely. So that's the rumored. Like I said, people, this is all rumors. This isn't the final list per se. I mean, it could be.
So now here we are, rumor mongers here in the Jerry Lawler podcast.
We're just talking about.
If you hear anything
names
about your next door neighbor, call us. We'll put it out. Rumor has it that
Glenn is on his fifth slab of brisket here.
Yeah, no kidding. One of my favorite cartoons that I ever saw used to be the Far Side. You remember Far Side cartoons?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Oh my gosh, one of my favorite one was this guy opens a door and here's this guy at a desk and with this real shocked look on his face that he's being exposed, and the guy that sees this guy sitting at the desk says, "Oh, so you're the they in They Say."
Far Side.
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
Yeah. Anyway,
I
we're going to be the they and They Say from now on.
Yeah, well, like I said,
what they say,
It's relevant. You never know. Well, it could be wrong. We'll look back at this 4 months from now when WrestleMania season rolls around and goes, wow, this Brad Shepard guy was totally wrong.
Yeah. And he made us totally wrong.
Well, there's something to talk about. All right.
Look, I just don't want to I don't want to step on any toes here or anything. I'm about to. My contract with WWE is about to come up for renewal, so I would like to not have him come back and say, "Well, it hadn't been that podcast of yours, and you're talking with that dorky guy." And, no, I'm not worried about that. But I don't want to. We want to let everybody know that we're not saying that is the gospel.
Right. It is just rumors of names being thrown out there.
But all good names. That would be a good thing.
All worthy. Definitely worthy. No surprise to any of those. All right, King. This is our last show before Christmas.
What do you about? I see you haven't finished, but what do you think? Our new. That's sort of a new item, the banana pudding. Good, huh?
Oh, I love it. Dessert is always right here. I always get my fill, and I literally, when I go back to Cleveland, I don't eat from here to Cleveland.
Tell everybody that once again we're at Jerry Lawler's Memphis Barbecue Company out here at on Germantown Parkway. It's right out in front of the huge Super Target and Super Walmart. We're right out in front of them, so it's easy located right here on Germantown Parkway. Come see us. Some of the best barbecue you're ever going to have anywhere.
And we will be opening up the barbecue restaurant, letting you know the exact time and date of when you can come watch and listen to a live, quote-unquote, taping of Dinner with the King, which will happen, I'll be in town from the 30th until the 9th. So
so probably the first week in January.
Yeah, so it has to happen either the 2nd, 3rd, or 4th.
You're going to spend New Year's Eve at a club down on Beale Street, so you'll probably be hungover until about the 3rd.
Yeah, Laura and I are going to be sleeping in until about 2 p.m.
Oh, Lord. I can't believe it. For a guy I've never had a drink of alcohol, not a sip, not a taste, beer, wine, whiskey, no alcoholic beverage in my life, and now I own a bar. What is up with it?
Well,
and I hate to be around drunk people, but we have to go down there, and New Year's Eve is going to be like crazy.
Well, I'm respectful. I'm a respectful drunk. All right, I am not sloppy. I'm like laughing. I'm a dork drunk. How about that?
Okay, good. That's good.
Yeah, I'm not going to be starting any fights. I'm not going to be doing any of that. So no worries. All right, King. All right, so the first, we won't be doing anything probably, eating, trying to soak up all the alcohol. And then, so Tuesday is the 2nd. So
Are you going to want to hang out downstairs in the VIP room too?
I mean, am I allowed?
Of course you'll be allowed. We're going to have everybody have the run of the place on New Year's Eve.
Oh, boy. As long as I'm allowed in the VIP, I'm totally cool with that. So it could be the 2nd, it could be the 3rd, or it could be the 4th, because you have a busy weekend. So it could be.
Yeah, probably. Well, even the 4th and the 5th. The 4th is the Grizz, not the Grizz, is the hustle game. We could do it in the daytime though.
Yeah,
on 4th.
I was thinking of doing a lunch. Doing it during the day. But then again, people are working, so we want to do it in the evening. Look at us doing live planning on the air for this. Everybody's on the edge of the.
Be edited out, I'm sure.
Everybody's on the edge of their seats, hopefully for a date for this.
Yeah,
so it could
be they're on the edge of their seat.
No, a lot of people will come. If you come to this live recording, people, please let King know how fortunate it is for them to come out and listen to us. So let King know. Please. And bring everything you want to autograph. And take pictures with King. We want to keep him there for a few hours. No. I'm thinking either lunch or dinner. So either the 2nd or the 3rd.
Right.
So January 2nd
so now
or the
Merry
3rd.
Christmas. Merry Christmas. Yeah. And we're going to have a special Christmas episode next week, right?
Well, we'll have the best of.
Yeah.
Best of. All these different clips of
so we've actually shows. They had some best of things to put on the show?
Oh, I think so. Cornette. There's a couple clips from Cornette's time.
Classic. Best of, yeah.
Terry Funk.
Best of, yep.
Definitely. I would say, Cody Rhodes, a little bit bantering back and forth with Cody was great. You had our live panel with the Midnight Express when I did the finger in the butt thing.
What? Okay.
On the stage.
And we haven't had JR. Why have we not had JR? Up did his podcast.
Yeah, we have. Well, 2018, we got to get JR on.
Yeah.
We got to get Stone Cold on. Because you're on his podcast, so it's only right to
do that. Me one.
He owes you.
He owes me.
Chris Jericho. I'm sure we'll have Jericho on as the cruise of Jericho gets closer and closer.
Oh, no kidding.
Who else? Who else should we get on? I mean, I know you hate having guests on, King.
I don't hate having guests on.
You just want to bother
I hate
people.
To ask them to be on.
Well, these people
I love it when the guest is on.
Yeah,
Bret Hart. Bret
Hart. Yeah, Bret Hart. Another best of. Yeah, definitely best of.
I love that. Yeah. But
how about Kenny Bolin? Do we include him in the best of?
Heck no.
We'll include him getting arrested. How about that?
No,
No
don't even
kidding.
include him.
Wow, no love for Kenny Bowen.
Oh man,
Okay,
he's out there. He sent me a direct message the other day. He said, "How did you get Terry Bradshaw to do that thing plug for you?"
How much did you pay him?
Who?
Terry Bradshaw. How much did you pay him to do that?
Are you serious?
No, I'm thinking that's what Bowen would say to you.
Yeah, exactly. That's what he was saying. How'd you get him to do that? You know, it's like, hey, me and Terry Bradshaw go back. You don't realize this. Me and Terry Bradshaw go back a long way. Terry Bradshaw hooked me up with Red Man Chewing Tobacco as a sponsor. I made $100,000 a year off of Red Man Chewing Tobacco years and years ago, thanks to Terry Bradshaw. We go way back.
But he played for the Steelers, though.
I know it, but Terry Bradshaw was always a cool guy.
Yeah, Terry Bradshaw's great. He's funny. So best of show will be next week. We will not.
And who did Terry Bradshaw say was his favorite wrestler of all time? Not even any question, no doubt about it.
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
No, he did not say that.
Dick the Bruiser.
I'm gonna pull up my phone and play the audio of that.
I'll splice it in, King. I got you.
Will you put in the audio right now? I want to hear it right now.
You know what? There's no question. I think everybody knows this because I've got pictures of it to prove it. But Jerry Lawler is my all-time favorite wrestler. No one can even come close. Matter of fact, growing up, I had pictures of him ever since he and I both were 5 years old. We were in the toddling booth together, and they babysat us. And he used to just always choke me down and drop kick me, and I knew as a little bitty toddler that he one day would be the world's greatest wrestler. And he didn't disappoint me at all. Love you, Jerry. All
right, there you go. See there? That's an endorsement right there from Terry Bradshaw.
That is. Well, I like that. I was wondering, how did you get that? How did you get that? Did the fan just do that for you, or what? Or
no.
Did he record that on his own? I was
with him at the time. He did the video for me on my phone.
Oh, okay. So you begged him to do that.
No, I didn't beg him to do it. We were just doing a card show together. We were doing an autograph show together.
Terry Bradshaw. Were you guys really like little kids together?
Oh my gosh. You're the best. You really are, dork.
I'm playing up the persona here, King.
Perfect.
Yeah, perfect.
Let's get out of here.
I'm done eating.
I got to finish Christmas shopping.
All right. So, yes, like I said, Twitter account @DinnerWithTheKing. We will let you know what exact date, either the 2nd or the 3rd, right here at King Jerry Lawler's Memphis Barbecue Company here in Memphis. We'll be here doing a live taping. We'll give the exact time. Make sure you show up early because I'm sure this place will be packed. So make sure you show up early, grab some grub, listen to. I'm sure King will sign some autographs, take some photos. We'll be there for a while. Also, best of show next week, and next month is our old school January. I'm sure we can have JR for the old school January month, right? You guys are old school.
That's what we need to do. Yeah, especially leading up to the 25th anniversary of Raw. We'll do that.
Who is one person you'd love to talk to on the show as an interview? If you could ask him, he would say yes without feeling bothered. Other than JR and Stone Cold and Jericho that owe you.
Oh my gosh, I don't know.
The Rock. He's running for president. He's going to run for president.
Yeah, he'll win if he runs.
That'll be great. You know what? You know what my wish would be?
Who? What? Who?
Vince
McMahon.
That would be great. Vince is never.
What would you talk about? What would you talk to Vince about? Come on.
I would talk about being like old school Memphis, being involved with you. Love to talk about that.
Well, you're right. That would be fun.
That would be
fun. To hear his reflections on the fact. I do firmly believe that was when he fell in love with being the mean, overbearing Vince McMahon.
No, definitely. What do you think I'm going to ask him? Mark questions?
I don't care what you're going to ask him because,
Fanboy.
You're not going to ask him anything because we're not going to have him on here.
You never do the podcast? You don't think he would never do it?
No, never.
For 5 minutes of his time?
No.
We got 5 minutes starting now. Ask me anything.
All right, we'll wrap it up. Follow us
After
on
that rotten impersonation of him, you'll never.
Oh, that's a good one. Come on.
You thought that sounded like Vince?
Yes.
It's like his. Well, you hear about what he did. Come on. We did the XFL.
Say yes again. What?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
That's a good one, right? I mean, that's like his. That's when he was like, full blown heel, saying like, "You're fired."
Okay.
All right. Follow us on Twitter at Dinner with King.
We can never end these things, folks.
No,
it's like never-ending podcast.
Keep talking. We're on Spotify. We're on iTunes. We're on Stitcher. We're on YouTube. We're at every single podcast platform out there. You guys listen to us each and every week. Next week, Best Of Show. We'll be live in Memphis the first week of January, so stay tuned for that date. Where are you going to be this weekend, King? Anywhere for Christmas? Staying home?
No, staying home.
Staying home.
Staying home at Christmas.
Well, Merry Christmas to everybody listening. Merry Christmas to you, King.
And Merry Christmas to you.
And Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night.
Oh, God.
The preceding show is a Pod Avenue production.